Everyone thinks that they are great communicators. If you ask them what their strongest characteristic is, they say they communicate well. But then you start to date them or be around them more, and you realize they're pretty bad communicators. Let's remember, ineffective communication is the #1 reason relationships fail. So, I'm going to show you 3 guaranteed steps to help you to become a better communicator. Now, obviously, these aren't the be-all to everything. There are other steps and other techniques that you can do to help you become better at what you do, right? But these 3 steps, I guarantee you'll love them, because they're not hard. Now, the first one is the most important one. It's called identify the problem and address the problem. Simple, right? When you feel, see, or hear something different in your partner or in your relationships, you must address it. I'm not talking about addressing it next week, next month, or even 4 days from now. Time is of the essence, and there's no better moment than the moment that you identify that there's a problem. How do you identify it? Well, rule of thumb. If you can't feel it, you can see it. And if you can't see it, you can hear it. Now, what does that mean? Well, we all know our partners, right? You can tell when the energy is different. You can feel it among you two, right? So if you can't feel it, then guess what? You can see it. So, body language. Body language changes. So if you can't feel it, you see it. And if you don't see it, you can hear it. You hear it in the way they communicate to you. Listen, if one of those 3 feel off, then you need to identify it and address it. All right, step 2, understanding the perspectives and agreeing on the solution. Now, once you identify the problem in step #1, don't just apologize if you don't understand the perspective that they're presenting to you. Now, there are 3 questions that you have to ask yourself under step 2. 1, do you understand the perspective? 2, have you effectively communicated where you're coming from? And 3, have you effectively communicated where you're trying to go? Now, make sure that you don't bite your tongue in step #2, because if you do, it will only cause more issues down the road. So, once you discuss it, come together on a solution that will move both of you forward together. Remember, it can't be about you. It can't be about I. It has to be about we. All right, step #3. Now, I need to recant something I said about step #1. I said step #1 was the most important, but really, step #3 is the most important because people think that all you have to do is step #1 and step 2, and that's it. They think all you have to do is identify the problem and then come up with a solution about the problem, and that's it. That's not it. The 3rd step is to follow up. You have to follow up with what has been discussed. Most people don't do this. They assume that just because we talked about it, that everyone is still on the same page. In a perfect world with a perfect partner, that would be the case. But we don't live in a perfect world, and we definitely don't have a perfect partner, and we're not perfect either. So, maybe a week later, maybe it's 30 days later, but follow up with your partner. Make sure you're still on the same frequency about what's been discussed, because there's nothing worse than having to deal with something a month and a half later or a month later about what you thought you moved on from. So follow up. And that's it, people. Those are your 3 steps to becoming a better communicator. And I know that you can do it. Simple, easy, sweet. I know it works. I do it. I wouldn't tell you anything that I don't do. As a spiritual coach, my vision for you is to see you become a better version of yourself. So, if you like the video, share it. If you agree with the video, share it and debate it. If you disagree with the video, share it and debate it. I'm Jay Noetic, and you just got better.